everyone, and welcome to the quick rebuild of my PC in 2018. I mentioned before that my PC was having issues handling streaming to two platforms, Twitch and YouTube Live. So I dug into the savings a little bit deep because now that this is my main job, I needed a more powerful PC for everything, really. I will list all the parts I installed and reused in the description below. I did not pay full price for any of these parts. Big disclosure there. And reusing some of the parts also helping in driving down the price. Now, I recently accepted being an affiliate on Twitch, and that now means I can no longer stream to YouTube Live at the same time. I would like to know what you think about me streaming only on Twitch. Do you like Twitch or YouTube Live, and why? I really would love to know your opinions on that. Alright, enough about that. Let's jump into the build. Now, I couldn't record everything as I only have two hands and no helper with this, and I did the best I could. So it's going to be kind of a quick and simple build. As I mentioned before, I'm reusing some parts, and one of them is being my old case because I didn't see anything better that I really liked, and the case I have is still a very good case for cooling. No issues with any of the fans, and most of the fans were replaced the last build I did just a couple years ago. So those will be staying, as well as my SSD. Just reinstalling Windows 10 on it for a fresh OS. To start, I got the i9 7980XE, and with 18 cores, I should have no problems with anything for a while. Please know I did not pay full price for this, and got the CPU at an incredible deal. For the first time, I moved away from the Asus brand motherboards, and I chose to pair the CPU with the ASRock Vitality motherboard for a couple of reasons. One, it was designed for the CPU I bought, and two, it is one of the few motherboards that don't bottleneck the i9's extremes power. The only downfall for me with this board was the less PCI slots and USB ports. This is the first motherboard I have worked with that has two power connectors for the board. Looks like the CPUs are getting a little bit power hungry as we keep upping in the cores and the power and all that wonderful good technology stuff. Because of this extra power needed and for any future upgrades I might want to do in the future, I bought an EVGA 1600 watt modular power supply. After using a power supply in my last build, I can never see me not going to a modular ever again. For cooling the CPU, I went with the Fractal Design Celsius S24 because of the great feedback it has been getting. It doesn't suffer from some of the issues that plague the other brands like air in the liquid and dying after only a month or two. It also has a 5-year warranty, but so do some of the others. I like to play it safe when it comes to a big CPU. The RAM is a G.Skill Trident Z, 64GB DDR4 3600. Not much to say about it other than I always favored G.Skill, and it's verified by ASRock for this motherboard. Graphics is a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti by EVGA. I just found this to be the best bang for the buck. For the main hard drive and storage, I will be reusing my not too old 1TB Samsung 850 Pro SSD for the Windows 10 operating system. A 6TB Western Digital Black just for a backup hard drive for personal things. And then I have two 12TB Western Digital Gold drives that will be set up in a mirror RAID for my recordings and the videos and basically everything YouTube and streaming. And of course, I will be reusing my two Elgato capture cards. The HD 60 Pro that I use for streaming and the 4K 60 Pro that I use for recording for YouTube. The first thing we need to do is tear apart the old case and rip everything out. First to be installed will be the motherboard. Put the I/O shield in. And I'm just making sure that my radiator is going to fit on the top, and took the fans that were on top from the old radiator off to the side for right now. Okay, the motherboard is now in, and now we're screwing in the pegs that came with the cooler. And they usually come with all kinds of types of different pegs and stuff for any variety of CPU motherboard combo you have. And this little plastic piece that you see on here, if you're not familiar with building your own PC, there's this little plastic piece on there that will pop off once you put in your CPU. And the big bad brains of everything, the i9. Now, if you've never installed one of these, it's pretty simple with the Intel processors. There's a little tiny arrow in the corner, and that always matches up to the little arrow right on the motherboard. So it's kind of hard to put this in wrong. Put the cover back on. Once you place the pins back, the little black piece will pop right out. And you'll always want to keep this just in case. I have some Arctic silver that I put on there, and now everybody has their design styles that they like to put on the CPU and stuff like that. But as you can see, I got a little imprint in there already. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to fit on top of the CPU first of all. But adding the CPU paste to it will make sure heat shouldn't be a problem. And this just places right over the pegs that we installed earlier. And you just screw it down with the caps that they gave you with the cooler. And one thing that I really liked about this cooler was you have the choice between auto and PWM. So you can use this pretty much with any software that you may be using to monitor your fans and that, which I thought was pretty cool. Now it's time to install the RAM, and with this configuration and this CPU that I have, it'll work in a quad channel, and you always want to make sure you hear that full-on snap when you install these. You also always want to check your motherboard documentation just to see exactly what DIMMs they want you to install the RAM in. They will be in different slots if they're a quad channel or a dual channel depending on your configuration. When in doubt, always look to the manual. That's what they're there for, because every motherboard is different. Time to install the graphics card, and man, this thing is a beast. I swear every year they just get bigger and badder and more fans. I'm waiting for a graphics card to come out with like 6 fans and all kinds of crazy stuff going on with it, because man, they are getting a little bit nuts. This one comes with 3 display ports, an HDMI and a DVI, so you should have plenty of hookups, and it is verified to be able to handle 4 monitors at one time, which is perfect because that's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, I got the fans installed and the radiator. The only thing left is to hook up the front panel to the motherboard. That's always a fun and daunting task. Yeah, as you can see, the one bad thing about this motherboard is while my front panel has a 1394 port, there is no spot for it on the motherboard. I have my main SSD already installed. We're putting in the other backup drives and the other drives that'll be in a RAID configuration. The nice thing about this case is it's pretty much all toolless, very close, and that's what I just love about this case. Just have one monitor plugged in and the power source, just to make sure it booted up fine and everything is working fine. There is nothing DOA, which is great news. So now we just gotta wait to install the operating system. Now the BIOS interface for ASRock is quite different from ASUS, I must say. I find ASUS to be a little bit more user-friendly than ASRock. It's definitely not lacking in tools of any kind. And you have a nice monitor for temps, voltages, you have fan tuning, just a little bit different. Fantastic tuning is what they call it on the ASRock. So there's a lot of settings that you can really fine-tune if you want to. Right now my main concern will be to get everything installed, because that's going to take probably a good day or more. I'm guessing it's probably going to take about 2 days to get everything transferred and reinstalled and everything. And then when I have time, I'll probably come back to this and look at it. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed the PC build. I know it was kind of quick and I probably didn't cover exactly everything, but I did the best I could. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon.